Pombekali, can you hear me?
Yes, Hillary, I can hear you now. How are you doing?
I don't know what happened, man. I don't know what happened, but it's okay.
Yeah.
What happened that way? I don't know. Let me check. Yeah, okay, it's okay now. It's okay. Yeah, the conversation was already started well. Abdi, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what happened. Just hear it. Whoop. Okay. Japheth, you've been raising your hands a lot. Say something. Yeah, sorry. Just said the space dropped, and I don't know why. Yeah, so Abdi and Pombekal, you can take us ahead. I see Japheth. Abdi, sorry for that, man. Sorry for that.
Space may drop. I was wondering.
Yeah, it dropped. It dropped, man. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we lost somebody who was speaking. I don't know who it was.
It was Opio.
Yeah.
Yeah. But go ahead. You can go ahead. Japheth is there. Frema is there. We're back now.
Okay, so Okay, Pombe, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Abdi. Thank you, Hillary, Japheth, and all our listeners. And unfortunately, we lost the hosting, but we are back and we'll proceed from where we are. Yeah, we're still looking at the state of the nation, what's going on, and the impeachment motion and the political which is going on, and the Gen Zs and how they are trying to counter what they deem is not what they want their government to be. So we will just proceed with the conversation, and we'll like just to go as we started. So that now we have Jafet and we have Onagi. Karibu sana Onagi. And those who are in the listeners who want to get to the speaker, please just request and you'll be given. And let us, when we are discussing, we will still have our standards of maybe having 3 minutes and having to give other people to speak. So Abdi will be going together with you, and I'll take this moment to give Japheth time. After Japheth, we'll go to Onagi. After Onagi, we'll go to Frema. Thank you so much, Japheth.
Okay, thank you for the space. Thank you for giving me the mic. So, the state of the nation, I think it is not somehow good, according to my own observation. Number one, I think with this government.
Jeff, you have a lot of background noise, so we can't hear you well.
Okay. Let me go to a quiet place.
All right.
All right. As we talk to, we wait for the speaker. Let's have a recap of today's discussion. I think there was a previous speaker that talked about the status of the nation. It is clear that the way he has put it, we lost him, but I agree with him. The political class has chosen to unite to protect their own interests while ordinary Kenyans continue to suffer. I think that that was swept under the rug, and rising employment, a struggling economy, and a deteriorating social fabric. I think I agree with that speaker that dropped initially. Thank you. You can hear me?
Yes, Abdi, we can hear you very well. But I think Opio is back, so you can give us a mic to finish his submission, because I think he's the one who was speaking. Then the space dropped off. Opio, you can go ahead.
Yes, thank you again. Can you hear me, please?
Very well.
Yes.
Very well.
Is Opio speaking? I can't hear Opio.
I can't hear him also. I'm just wondering why.
Opio.
Opio hatuwezi kusikia. Maybe you have an issue. Keep that, Dan Kibich. We can't work that way. They want us to work. If you have people in the background, finish with them, then you come to this place. Okay. Frema, you can go ahead. Frema.
I see Frema is connecting, and Opio is also connecting. I think they have some signal issues or something like that.
You can give the people that you're seeing is.
I see still have Onagi. We have Paul. And Japheth also still there. Okay, Onagi, do you have something to give us as we wait for the other speakers to connect well?
Thank you Pombekale, asante sana kwa kunipa nafasi hii. Kwa kusema kweli, nchi si imara sana, kwa sababu vitu inafanyika ni maajabu tu. Kwa sababu venye nilikuwa ninaona kivyangu, wakati hao jamaa wameingia bungeni kutoa naibu wa rais, walikuja mpaka kila kiti ilijaa bungeni. Lakini wakati mwananchi anaumia, hakuna mwenye anaweza ingia kwa bunge kutetea mwananchi. Hii ni dhahiri inatuonyesha wajamaa wamejiunga ili watekeleze vitu vyao, si vya wananchi. Wakati walikuwa wanauliziwa ukumbi, wametengeneza ukumbi ya wananchi kuzungumzia bima ya afya, bajeti, walikuwa maassume hizo vitu za hawezi fanya. Lakini wakati wa kutoa mwingine ofisini, wanakaribisha moyoni, kwa sababu labda vile Gachagua anaendelea iwafurahishi kamwe. Sasa tatizo yetu kama nchi, kama sisi wananchi, lazima sasa tusimame imara, kwa sababu hawa jamaa wameingia kwa kona moja. Sasa kama uko na opinion tofauti na wengine, utangolewa mamlakani, kwa sababu uelewi rais, uelewi hao wengine wa bunge. Kwa sababu sasa tumeona rais mwenyewe amenoa panga lake, na panga lake amenoa bungeni, ambapo kila kitu anataka itakuwa inafanyika bungeni. Kama jana ulikuwa public hiyo kumbi ya wananchi kuzungumzia kungolewa kwa Rigiji, sehemu ya Nyanza haikuwa active sana. Inamaanisha nini? Tulikuwa tumeungana kama agencies ili tusukume tuweke serikali kwa toes, kuiweka ijibike. Sasa jamaa waliona hii kitu tukiweka hivi itakuwa ngumu, kwa sababu hao jamaa wameelewana kando. Sasa tufanye hivi ili tuvute hii maneno ya agency na kila kitu, tuingie mlima, tujaribu wengi watakimia. Alafu Nyanza itakuwa inaonekana kumbe inafurahia kutolewa kwa naibu wa rais, unaona? Sasa hii kitu ni ya kuunganisha wananchi. Wakati tunagonganishwa hapa na fikra za kungolewa huyo jamaa kwa kazi, tusifikirie maneno ya ndani, tusifikirie maneno ya tusifikirie maneno ya uchumi, tusifikirie hizo vitu zote zimefanyika kwa hizi muda wa miaka 2. Tusahau ili tufocus on one thing, kwa sababu walikuwa wanataka kujua kama tumejibika. Kama unaweza ita hiyo ni ukumbi ya wanabunge kukuja kwa constituency level, kama tunaweza ingia tuende tuzungumze humo. Sasa serikali tusipoangalia vizuri wazee, tutafinywa kabisa, kwa sababu sasa hizi tusahau CBC, tusahau funding model, tusahau maneno ya ndani, tusahau maneno ya bima ya afya. Sasa hizi ni vitu zenye tumeletea venye ilikuwa kwa kikapu moja.
Onagi, ni kama umemaliza. Okay. It is true what you are trying to say and what the citizens are going through. As we have this conversation, can we also try to check, okay, now that the MPs during the impeachment motion, the bill that was presented, they saw it wise that, okay, we need what is called public participation. Can now the citizens of Kenya make it clear to the MPs that from now henceforth, we would want to see every bill that is presented before the MPs to be given to the public participation so that we have the say as public and as citizens of the Republic of Kenya. Asante sana, Abdi, I see you are back and thank you for that. Linus, Japhet, Prince, also still here. Linus, I will give you the next speaker and then Japhet, then Prince. Before that, I'll just give Abdi one moment to say something. Thank you. Abdi, after that, Linus.
Too loud. Can we have a more silent background? And Linus, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First, thank you for hosting this space once again. Am I audible enough?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you. Now, I want to be very brief today. The state of the nation. The nation Kenya is not at a very good place. And one thing that is becoming more and more apparent with each passing day is that a day is coming, a time is coming, and this thing is going to explode, and nobody will be able to contain it. Because I believe the citizenry have hit the tipping point. They have reached a level that they cannot take it anymore. They have reached a point that they can't be ignored anymore. If you check what transpired between Friday and Saturday for the public participation, I think the rage was out there for everyone to see. And anyone who has ears, I'm sure they had. Anyone with good eyes, I'm sure they saw. Because, I mean, it has come a time when people cannot be taken for a ride anymore. And the people are willing to take the law into their own hands. People are willing and ready to govern themselves. Simply because the political class are completely out of touch with the plight of the populace. So the people feel abandoned. What we have currently is a political fight, I still maintain. Because show me one person who is not tribal. Show me one person who has not used his office to amass wealth. Show me one person who never hides behind his tribal region whenever he or she is cornered. None. These guys are swim in the same pool. These guys belong to a club. And I thank God that people have realized. Kenyans are beginning to speak. Kenyans are beginning to speak like Kenyans. A time is coming when no one will care, no one will bother whether I am a Luo, a Kikuyu, a Nandi, a Teso, a Giriama. It will be that Kenyanness in us that will drive us to the streets to tip the ship. The tides are very strong. So if I were in the position of William Ruto, Raila Odinga and the likes, I'll be very worried. I think they have the golden opportunity, the only opportunity
to make things right. The speaker before me, I don't know, I think it's Pombe, who has mentioned that every bill should be subject to public participation. I think that's what the law says. But I'm afraid that after what they saw on Friday and Saturday, they might be afraid, because there's even that bill of the Senate, the one that proposes changes. It should be coming for public participation, but they are holding on to it simply because of what transpired on Friday and Saturday. No member of parliament would like to come for active public participation, because you are going to be met with a lot, or by a lot that is well informed, that know what they want, that will not be taken for a ride. Gone are the days when the political class or politician would say that you elected me so I can pick on your behalf. When I elected you to represent me. And to represent me, it means that you must take into account my feelings plus my expectations in every decision that you are making. But that has not been the case in this country for a very long time. The political class have always make us join the chorus. It is yes, and then everybody follow it is yes, without interrogating why it's yes. But the people of Kenya, as of today, are awoke, they are alert, they are very much ready to make this nation be a democratic nation, where majority will have their way, minority will have their say. Because now we are in a situation where minority want to have their way without putting into consideration the way of the voice of the majority. So I think our nation is in a very bad, precarious place, that anybody wants to insult any leader, be it a church leader, be you a community leader, a political leader, we have to be very careful. We have to be very alert, because the change that the Raila Odingas and the Orengos and those guys of yesteryears fought for, they never accomplished it. They just brought about the freedom. But when they joined and sat at the table, they continued with the same thing that they were fighting against. But now the Gen Zs and the millennials have realized that we've been taken for a ride for so long, and it is time now to shape this country into what we want it to be and what we want it to look like. Because for a very long time, they always say that we bequeath this country to our children. Now they have grandchildren, but they think they're still having business as usual. But the grandchildren have woken up and realized that these daddies and granddaddies of ours are taking us to the dungeon. And so it is time to change. And so my take is the citizens must keep being alert, must keep being awake to hold these guys, because that bill at the Senate, if people are not careful, they'll ignore public participation and corrupt their ways through the courts and then have it their way, you know? And that's why Okiya Omtata is in court currently challenging the SHA. I hope the court will throw it away. Yeah. So people, we just have to keep being awake, keep being alert. But we are at a very dangerous place. That's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Linus. Always very, very powerful submission. Actually, you highlighted a very important point. There is no leader who truly rises above tribalism in Kenya. None, actually. I 100% agree with you. Everyone seems to fall back on their ethnic basis when it actually suits them. I think hiding behind the same old divisions to secure power. This is reality why we keep finding ourselves stuck in the same vicious cycle until we break free from this tribal stronghold and demand the leaders who prioritize the nation over narrow ethnic interest will keep repeating the same mistakes. I 100% agree. It's not about which tribe it is in power. It's about whether we can have a leader that truly serves all Kenyans. That is 100%. The other part I also want to agree with you is on every bill and policy should undergo a genuine public participation to ensure it reflects the interest of the people. I think Right now, what we are being distracted by the so-called national emergency of removing the deputy president as being the biggest crisis facing the nation. This is all hot air. I think it's a side distraction. The truth is that they are all sailing in the same boat. The political class has also united, as you said, I think, protected their own interests. And more of this is distraction coming. Thank you. I'll leave it there for now. I'll hand over to Pombe to give the mic to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdi, and thank you, Linus. The next speaker was supposed to be Japhet. After Japhet, Prince. Japhet, are you there? I've given you the mic previously. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for this space. Now, I want to talk one thing today about the media. Number one, the media is failing us. When you talk about media, the media nowadays is spreading the news which are totally wrong. Totally wrong. Like today, I'm not happy. Yes? What are you saying?
Japhet, I think Prince, can you mute, please, when you are speaking, please?
Yes.
Like, are you hearing me?
We can hear you, Japhet, but your background got some noise.
Okay.
So maybe can you please try to can you try to maybe have a good background and so that you come back, please, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Mine is good.
Okay, proceed.
Hello.
Prince.
Good evening.
Good evening. Proceed, please.
Mine. Hello.
Prince, we can hear you.
Hope you can get me. Yeah. Thank you. Mimi yangu ni machache. Nilikuwa nasema hivi, kama huu mswada ambao ulikuwa umeletwa juzi wa kumpeleka naibu wa rais nyumbani, sikuwa nauona ni kama una maana yoyote, kwa sababu ukiangalia vizuri, huu ni mchezo ambao unachezwa tu. Na hata kitu niliweza kuangalia katika katiba yetu, kwa sheria hakuna vile utatoa naibu wa rais ulete mwingine aingie kabla hajaidhinishwa na IEBC, tume yetu ya IEBC. Sasa nilikuwa naona huu ni mchezo mkubwa sana ambao huyu mzee anajiita William huyu anaweza kutuchezea tu. Lakini mimi ningeweza kuwasihi vijana wenzangu, huu ni muda mwafaka sana tuweze kujitokeza kama ule wakati ambao tuliweza kujitokeza mwezi wa 6 hadi mwezi wa 7, tukafanya kitu mpaka rais mwenyewe akatetemeka, akaona hapa nikicheza nao vijana nitakuwa najiletea shida. Tuweze kujitokeza na tusimame na umoja ili tuendelee mbele. Alafu hii maneno ya, naona watu wengi wanamweka Morara Kebaso kuwa mbele kama rais wa emergency. Nilikuwa napendelea huu sio muda mwafaka kumweka mtu yoyote ama kijana yoyote kuongoza vijana wa Kenya, kwa sababu tukisha tumweka mbele kwa wakati huu, kufika mwaka 2027 atanunuliwa. Mimi najua William ni nani. Atanunuliwa na huyu Morara Kebaso ataenda na atamuunga William mkono. Na kwa hao watu ataweza kuchukua wafuasi fulani kutoka kwa hii kikundi cha JNC. Na hapo tutakuwa na usemi mkubwa, tutaishiwa nguvu. Hasa tuendelee tu kukaa pamoja tukipigania haki zetu, lakini tusiweke jamaa yote pale tie ndio kiongozi wetu. Tukiweka tu jamaa yote hivi tutakuwa tumeisha. Ikifika mwaka huo watanunua huyu jamaa na kuna kitu ambacho tutafanya. Alafu hii ukabila mingi, mimi ni Mkalenjin, mimi ni Mluya, mimi ni Mjaluo. Mimi saa zingine ndio mimi ni Mluya, lakini saa zingine napenda siasa za watu kutoka huko magharibi. Mtu wa magharibi anaweza acha wewe upigwe, ufanyiwe madharau, atakwambia wewe beba mzigo peke yako. Lakini kuna kabila zingine kama Mkalenjin. Kwanza watu wa kabila mkubwa sana kwa hii Kenya ni Wakalenjin. Tukienda tu kuangalia hizi vitu kama hizi appointments za serikali hizi, ukiangalia viti vingi kabisa kuanzia wakati wa uhuru zilikuwa zinaenda kwa Wakalenjin. Na William ndiye alikuwa anapeana. Alikuwa na appoint Mkalenjin, PS wa wizara fulani anachukua Mkalenjin, akuwe mara mkubwa parastatol fulani, hadi wa sasa ni hivyo tu. Ukiangalia baada ya kura zilizopita, niliweza kuangalia nikaona Wakikuyu walikuwa wamechezwa vibaya kabisa. Walichukua zile viti kubwa kubwa karibu 10 wakawapea, alafu wakakuja wakachukua viti karibu 100 wakapea Wakalenjin, ambazo ziko na ushawishi mkubwa sana kuliko zile 10 wakapewa Wakalenjin. Sasa kama sasa wanasema ni naibu wa rais wa sasa kona ubaya, mimi sidhani kama ako na ubaya wote, na kama ana ubaya, rais mwenyewe ako na ubaya mkubwa sana na mwingi sana kuliko naibu wake. Sasa mimi kitu ningesihi kama ni kuenda hao watu wote waende nyumbani, sisi tutaweza kujiongoza kama majenzi. Hata kama ni jeshi litatuongoza, heri tuongoze na jeshi, kwa sababu ukiangalia hizi miaka miwili wa jamaa wa serikali, hakuna kitu ambazo wameweza kufanya. Ukiangalia elimu yetu imeweza kuharibika. Huu mfumo wa mpya wa elimu wa CBC umechanganyikiwa, hata walimu wenyewe hawajui wanafanya nini. Ukienda kuangalia hizi vitu za matibabu hizi NHIF, ukiangalia ziko na shida kubwa sana. Juzi nyinyi mweza kujionea ule jamaa ambaye amekuwa pale na Nakuru, nadhani alikuwa pale Nakuru County, aliweza kukumbwa na shida juu ya kutoka mara sijui NHIF unaenda SHA. Kama ni kubadilisha kutoka NHIF kwenda SHA, si hao watu wangeangalia tu pale juu, wenyewe wanatuambianga pale health ama afya house kuna cartel mkubwa sana, na pale NHIF kuna cartel mkubwa sana. So wangeenda tu watoe huyu cartel na waweke pale kwa mahali pasafi na kazi mzuri endelee kufanyika, kuliko kuja watuletee vitu mara SHA mara SHIF. Sasa hata tujui ni gani. Ukienda kutibiwa sasa unaambiwa hakuna, ukienda kutibiwa mara huko kwa system mara nini. Alafu kitu ya tatu, ukiangalia kama masomo ya watoto wa shule ya msingi na shule ya upili, tulikuwa na mfumo ambao ulikuwa umeletwa na rais wetu aliyeondoka, Rais Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, wa matibabu ya bure kwa wanafunzi. Mimi nilisoma wakati wake, niliweza kutibiwa bure wakati wote nilikuwa nagonjeka. Lakini sasa hivi nashuhudia mwanafunzi akiwa mgonjwa lazima simu ende nyumbani, hata kama mzazi anatoka kule Mombasa atatumana pesa ama atoke huko achukue mwanafunzi wake hospitali atibiwe. Sasa hizi pesa ambazo zilikuwa zinaenda kwa matibabu yetu tukiwa shuleni, imeenda wapi kwa wanafunzi ambao wanatufuata kutoka nyuma? Hiyo ni swali langu kwa mjama. Mimi kwa sasa hivi niko katika kaunti ya Vihiga. Ukiangalia kuna barabara ilikuwa imekuja ikalonchiwa kutoka kule Chavakali kielekea Kapsabet kupita kwenda Eldoret. Hii barabara waliunda tu kidogo, wakapita kwa kina Mdavadi kufika mahali inaitwa Mago, wakaachia hapo barabara. Barabara imekuwa mashimo, magari watu wanakanyaga kila siku, magari yanaanguka juu ya hii serikali tu. Hii serikali mimi sioni kama mtu yeyote ni mzuri. Hata huyu Gachagua mwenyewe analia sai. Ile tu wakati wa Kenya watamfanyia hivi tena sympathy, wasahau ile ambayo William amewafanyia, na wampe huyu Gachagua kura tena, tutarudi tu pale pale, tutahangaika hata kuliko hii. Sasa mimi pendekezo langu tu ni hao jamaa waende wote, sisi kama majenzi tutajiongoza, na kama sio kujiongoza, heri tuongozwe na jeshi. Jeshi huwezi tudhulumu kufikia jinsi hao jamaa wanatudhulumu, na tukimwachia Ruto tu nafasi tena mwaka 2027 aweze kurudi katika kiti, hata sijui penye tutaenda, na nchi yetu sijui itachukua miaka mingapi kutengenezeka, haitaweza kurekebika. Alafu hiki kikundi cha hello,
yeah, just try to land. Thank you for we give time to other speakers too. Thank you so much for your contribution. I'll give you 1 minute to land.
Okay, thank you. So mine is I will ask you to let us be united so that we cannot be intimidated by these politicians. We know them very well. Let us work together as a group, as youth of Kenya, and get our country forward. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a good presentation, I would say. I think you're right. The last 2 years of UDA leadership has been marred with series of issues from... You can mute your mic.
Okay, thank you.
So I agree with the speaker in some context that the last 2 years of UDA has been marred with a series of issues, from unfulfilled promises, economic instability, deepening corruption, worsening the cost of living. I think we are told this will be a bottom-up revolution, but instead Kenyans are feeling the weight of mismanagement, political infighting. Instead of addressing the real concerns, the focus has been on consolidating power and creating distractions like the current one to push the deputy president out. These governments need to shift its priorities and start delivering tangible results for the people, because they are failing the very citizens they vote, they agreed, they swore to uplift. So I'll leave it there, and I will hand over back to Pombe to go to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdi. The next speaker went back to the listener. So now I will skip and go to Josephine. After Josephine, we'll go to Diplomat Joseph, then Dr. Erastus. Josephine, please. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Iranian, for hosting the space and your two hosts. And I want to say good evening, fellow Kenyans. And allow me to start with condemning the act which happened to Morara. As much as we may not be all his supporters and following him, the truth is that whatever has been done to Morara can be done to any other person. And I don't believe in a country where such things can happen. So also another thing is that seeing sitting MPs, they were the ones who are cheering up Morara to be beaten up. That is something which is unacceptable. And as we are talking right now, no action has been taken against them. The president has said nothing about it. And you want to tell me in this country we have a president? Then, fellow Kenyans, I think as much as we want to be too obedient to the Constitution is for the poor, but for the rich and the president that is called, the Constitution, according to them, they are above the law. And having said that, personally, I like thinking critically, and I've thought over it again and again, and I have decided that Waswahili husema mficha uchi azai. Kwa hivyo wakati umefika tuseme ya kwamba mpaka tufungue uchi uonekane ili tuweze kuzaa. Because what is happening in our country, it's something to be condemned with the highest terms, but whoever we are expecting to do that is doing nothing about it. Whoever we expected, we've given him authority to be a symbol of unity, he has decided to become a symbol of destruction and the destruction in our country. And we cannot continue like that, fellow Kenyans. I want us to look at 287 people have been killed. The president has never stood even a single day to extend his apologies and even to condole with the families who have lost their loved ones. He has never bothered. What makes him the president of this country then? Because if he cannot protect his lives, he has no business to be a president. I still wait to be told what makes him a president of this country. Right now, he has invented into the NHIF and decided that now he is going to take our health away from us so that we realize that we are dying and we have to be submissive to him and adhere to whatever he says, because he has decided to deny us our health services, whereby we are contributing our own money, our own work of our hands, and now we have to suffer death. Our parents are dying, our relatives are dying, they cannot acquire services because simply you have been deducted your money, but you are told you have to pay cash because the systems are not working. Because someone has just decided to create a situation whereby the country is in crisis so that we can be submissive to him. The same president has decided to destroy our children, our education, and everything. Because I don't understand what criteria does he use to gauge that who qualifies for what and what category. And the other thing is that he has also sworn and vowed never to adhere to the orders of the court. The court has given several orders and they've not been followed. Then what kind of a president do we have, fellow Kenyans? What kind of a president do we have? A time has come. We think, and we cannot sit here every day, every other day. We are in the platforms and complaining and doing nothing. A time has come. We engage people who call themselves partners of this country. A time has come. We call back our police officers wherever they are, in whichever country, in the name of actually keeping peace, while in our country is in tatters, and the KDFs and the defense forces who are supposed to be protecting our borders have been deployed inside at the center of the city to protect the president. Fellow Kenyans, we cannot take this any longer. We need clear cuts, and we need any country that thinks that they are our stakeholders. We can collaborate with them. We need them to stand up and condemn what is happening in our country, and we bring it out clearly so that we have to reduce the mortality in which abductions are taking place. Because if anybody who wakes up and says, fellow Kenyans, this is the way to go, we are in the wrong place, and then somebody comes up and just eats your head so that you keep quiet, so that any other person who sees that, they will coil up and keep quiet. Fellow Kenyans, we are not going to sit and continue watching people being abducted day in, day out, people being killed day in, day out, people being beaten, chaired by the elected members of the parliament, and the president says nothing about it. Fellow Kenyans, I think if we better die standing up as soldiers rather than die still on our knees while we have already surrendered to a person who can never discover that we have surrendered. I've just seen that in another space, Wakili has just said that there is another bill which has been passed.
Sorry, Ms. Josephine, may you try to land, please? Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just finishing. This is the last point. That there is a bill which is being deliberated right now in the parliament, which intends to be passed so that we are restricted from several more other areas, so that we do not have authority and the right to do that. Fellow Kenyans, can we come out anytime we see everybody, because we have now to work to the best of everyone's knowledge. Anytime we see a document which concerns us, which concerns protecting us, can we avail our signatures so that we fight with this government squarely and put it to everyone where they belong, and whoever does anything will be able to be arrested, because in case any person is abducted for any reason, we will have somebody who is responsible and who can be held accountable, because we will have put it clearly into records, and every citizen of Kenya and any country that claims to be a stakeholder of our country will be having that documentary on their table. Thank you so much. Let's join hands. Let's soldier forward. Let's never look backwards. I want really to appreciate the entire youth in the country who stood up and they said that President Ruto should also go home together with Gachagua. Those who fought against that impeachment, I salute you. I really acknowledge you, and I keep on praying for all of us so that we remain in that unity. May God bless us and God guide us. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thanks, Josephine. Abdi, do you have something before we proceed?
No, go ahead. Go ahead to the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Josephine. And next speaker will be having Diplomat Joseph. Diplomat Joseph, please.
Thank you. Thank you, Pombe. Thank you, Hilary. And thank you, Abdi, for seeing it befitting for us to have such a great platform once again to deliberate the matters that are cardinal to our nationhood. Before I make my submission, allow me to respond to a speaker who spoke before the lady we've just heard from, and that should be the speaker by the name Prince. I think we are in a wake and a time and a season where we are fighting for the application of democracy without dilution. And one thing we ought to understand is there's no way you are going to fight for democracy when you are dividing the very people you need in your sling to win that kind of a war or battle, if that be the case. And therefore, there were several remarks that Prince made, and I think I stand to correct him, because I know we are headed somewhere as a nation and we ought to speak one language on the issues that are facing us. And therefore, there's a statement he made concerning the Kalenjins, concerning the Kikuyus, whichever matter it is. It is very true, yeah. I agree with him, we have tribalism. But just because somebody has favored a certain group of people from a certain tribe, then that should not be the agitating power for any one of us to think that we need to label such a tribe as such a politician. Because what happens is, when somebody is in power and he wants to get people from maybe his community or whatever, basically they unpick their covenants, and we cannot summarize and say community X is black because we have 10 people who are from that community who are black. And therefore, what I'm just trying to say is, we need everybody on board. It is true, we have cases of tribalism, we have cases whereby things are not happening well, but we ought not to forget that. In as much as there are many people in a given department or sector in a government, more than others, we need those communities to fight for our democracy. We need those communities to fight for our liberation. So let the categories of people who we know, so and so was brought here illegally, when we have everything in our power and in our hand, we can be in a position to deal with those people. So I just needed to make it clear so that we don't shout at the zenith of our voices and try to see a certain tribe as if it is bad because the leader comes from that tribe. So we need everybody on board. Now, here is my submission, and I want to thank all the speakers who have made the great contribution before us here today. Now, I think we have a square problem in the whole matrix of the current politics of UDA since they ascended into power in 2022. And the reason as to why I say this is because the issue that I'm going to address here, I value and I put it among the cardinal issues that I have, basically because when UDA candidates that was Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua came to power, or even before they came to power, they were seeking votes. They went throughout the nation trying to get votes from each one of us. And most people, they accepted those two guys. Now, the narrative that Ruto and Rigathi used to was this. Their narrative was, the reason as to why we are standing with my brother is because this other guy here called Raila Amolo Odinga is a devil. Raila is a demon. Raila is a man of Enugu powers. Raila sleeps with witch doctors. That's where Raila gets his power. All manner of things. Now, listen to me very carefully. Now, that kind of a statement was a system of mobility to try to drive the society of Kenya, and now we view the politics from a different angles, quite different from the true stratas of politics. And therefore, it was the politics of those who want power because they are angels versus they that we don't want them to ascend to that power because they are demons. So who becomes the victim? Now, these two guys, they appeared using the image of the church, and the baby they brought us, who today I will tell you without fear that baby was a bastard. A bastard is anything that has been born out of wedlock. It cannot be recognized. So these guys knew what we have in hand is bastard, but we need the blessings of the church so that we can sell the idea of this bastard and then we cling to the seat of power. So what happened is they came to the church and the church accommodated that bastardhood of UDA. Now, when the church accepted that thing, I am telling you for sure, that is how these two guys were able to have easy time to get our votes, to get the votes from the church, to get support from the church. I am speaking from a position of understanding what was going on. I happen to be in the operation of the clergy. sorry, I didn't want to disclose maybe my details, but I'm telling you, even the other day, the Pentecostal group came out and it was saying how guys fasted and prayed, how people went for many days in prayer for this government. Now, this is the question that I've been asking, and this is what we need to ask ourselves. And the reason why I've brought this issue is because I need you to understand, for our fight for liberation and democracy, the church, the very same church that was used to be the kingmaker, we need to engage that church, because one, it is either the church closes the doors to this politician, and number two, the church comes out to denounce those bastards, or else the church is going to say, we thought these guys are going to work for us, and they have really literally failed the Kenyans, and therefore there is a need for us to take a different direction. And the reason as to why I say these guys, they knew whatever they had as a baby was a bastard, is because now we had a polarization of a demon versus a saint. And this is a question I need to ask you so that I may give other speakers time also to make their contribution. This is my question, without having any issue to do with any candidate who stood in 2022. How comes that the very man that the church was told was a demon, Raila Amolo Odinga, that Ruto went back using the back door, he went and brought in the same guy who the church was rallied to pray against, and now Raila is supposedly in government, his people are in government. My question is, at what time and stage did Raila become a saint? Because we were told the guy was a bad man. So in reality, so who was fooling who? So only this tells me that the church was used to sanitize a bastard. So whatever character these two guys they have tried to bring in our faces, it has been a lie since the beginning. And let me tell you, and I'm sorry, I am standing from a position where I need maybe to have a support for the church. But let me tell you the truth. I've heard people say yesterday, it is better. It is better when we had a dragged leader than those guys who seem to be so sacramental and so pious. You see, so this is my submission to every one of us. In this discussion and engagements, we must bring the church onto account, because the church was used to sanitize people who do not have morals in everything that they are trying to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Diplomat Joseph. That was a nice submission, and for the members who are just coming, we are having a conversation, state of the nation. We have 5 major things that happened previously that we are trying to look into. That is the impeachment of the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua. We have the public participation of the same bill. We have Morara being attacked at the venue of the public participation. And when we flip to the other side of the Senate, we have 2 bills that are pending. That we have the limit of the presidency, that is to move from 5-year to 7-year table to be tabled by Senator Cherangai. And also we have the censure of the President William Ruto by Senator Dan. So these are the state of the nation, and we are trying to capture all these at a go. So the next speaker, we are going to have Wycliffe. Then after Wycliffe, we will be having Dr. Maju, then Dr. Milton. Wycliffe, karibu. I think we are losing Wycliffe. Dr. Maju.
Thank you. Is that one Abdi or Pombe?
This is Pombe de Kali. Abdi just got back. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdi. I'm sorry, it's when I've joined and I've seen Larry has sent me an invite to come to the speaker, and I was still listening to the views of the listeners and other speakers. But on just to pick on what your highlights on the matters that we are discussing, the Morara issue, the impeachment of the DP president, I would like to say that I'm very happy with the Kenyans this time around, those who came out in large number to participate in their areas of participation on the impeachment of the Deputy President of Kenya, Gachagua. They responded positively that I can see a song saying that kufa gari, kufa dereva, kufa makanga. So walikuja wote, let all of them go home. And also what made me happy again is when the people came out and said that we are not going to solve their problem. When they have a problem, they should solve it by themselves, because when we are having a problem, the MPs are not taking a concern of sitting down and handling our issues. So first of all, I'm happy with that. Let me handle the issue of Morara. I've been trying to dig what could bring the cause at Bomas, but I remember when Morara came in, he was blocked by the policeman not to access that room. Later on, he forced himself inside, and there was a case. Inside that hall, the Marco Ure also was inside, and everybody saw or listened to what Marco Ure said. He gave his support fully that it is Gachagua to go home and not together with the president. And I think immediately when Morara came in, Morara didn't talk. He was trying a bit to use the sign language of showing that whatever is going on here should not go on. So we are still not understanding the take or the stand of Morara and Marco Ure, but it is very clear that Marco Ure has developed a political interest. And this one can clearly tell the Gen Zs that in as much as we talk of having new fresh blood, people will always be people, because if you see Marco Ure now will stand in front and fight for only the deputy president. Somebody asked a very funny question that if we send the deputy president, will we have drugs in the hospital? Will we have no corruption in this country if we remain with Root alone? Is it Gachagua that is generating all this? Which to me the answer is no, because the head of the state is none other than William Samoei Ruto. So we have to be very careful, the young people also, and the likes of Morara, is any of them is listening, whichever. I tried to reach this guy called KOT who was together with them there, and I told them that it is politics, and they must be very, very careful. Let them be ready for such things. The like of Alado and the TJ will never joke with them around, because nobody will just give you power easily. Those are one of the things that the so-called Raila passed through. Raila rebelled with his father some days back, and he went through some hardship. If you read his stories well, I remember there is a story that I was reading about him when the father was having a party at their home, and Raila skipped that party, him together with Nyong'o, because his father wanted to front none other than James Orengo. He escaped that party, and not just skipping that party, he went ahead and brought a chaos to disrupt that party at their own home. So those are politics, and they should read the game. If they are not careful, we will lose them as early as we lost the likes of Tomboy. So once you are in the game of politics, your strategy needs a strategy, and never pretend that things will flow normal. Let me listen to other speakers, then if you will allow me come back again after I've analyzed 1, 2, 3 things, I'll give my view, but I'm happy to listen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Maju. Let me bring in our one of our guest speaker, Dr. Milton, and then we move to the next speaker. Thank you. Dr. Milton, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Abdi. First of all, let me confirm that everybody can hear me.
Loud and clear.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, like I always do, I want to pay tribute to the fallen comrades who paid the ultimate price as a result of the June 25th protest and the aftermath to that. We owe them a debt of gratitude for paying the ultimate price, and we must make sure that their blood and their life was not in vain. Having said that, I want to speak to something which has been disturbing to me the whole of this week. That as a country, we are faced with a very sad reality. We have a leadership that does not care about the country, and those of us who care about Kenya, we must be able to have the courage to stand up and say no to it. There is a deliberate scheme to slide the country back to anarchy and into the dictatorship of the Moi era. But it should be concerning to everybody that the person who's taking us back came in with the Bible, and he told the country that he was sent as a Messiah to rescue the Kenyan people from the shackles of dynasties and now, listening to, I don't know how many of us, and I want to make reference to Dr. Barak Muluka, a man that I have a lot of respect for, who, speaking on Spice FM, I think was it on Monday or Tuesday, he said that if you ask him that has William Ruto and his regime lost the agenda and the plan? Dr. Muluka said, and I want to say it here for those who may not have followed, and if you didn't, I want to encourage you to go online and listen to Barak Muluka. He said that as far as he's concerned, William Ruto is right on course with his agenda for Kenya, against Kenya. And those of us who believed in the masked William Ruto are the ones who think that there is anything new happening to William Ruto. William Ruto is keeping with his agenda for seeking power. He's kept every side of the bargain in showing us that in 2 short years, his government and leadership is riddled with corruption scandals amounting to $500 billion plus. And here is the reason why. Adani is about 200, north of 200 billion shillings. The chief, Apiero thing, is another 104 billion. That takes you to 300 billion plus. You would remember we had the edible oil saga, which was 5 billion. And we had the G2G oil deal. We do not know how much it is worth, but we know that there was 17 billion worth of oil that was allegedly imported into the country by one lady, and that mafuta ilipotea. I don't know whether anybody has followed that. And then you have the ghost schools under the Ministry of Education that are receiving capitation. Those schools don't exist. They only exist for purposes of elections and corruption. And the number is about 10,000 of them, if I am not wrong. But those numbers can be confirmed. So basically, William Ruto has borrowed about 5 trillion. Maybe it could have gone to 6 by now, and 10% of that money cannot be properly accounted for. But let me talk about the areas of concern for me. William Ruto and the state of the nation is such that for me, we must be able to see it the way it is. William Ruto, from when he came into office, his agenda was to finish everything that has been there and set up his own system. And he started testing the waters very early. Unfortunately, the Kenyan people were duped into believing that give this president time. But the time we were giving him was for him to entrench himself and put his henchmen in strategic places. So number one, he made sure that in his book, he will appoint every incompetent person so that when he sits in cabinet and when the state agencies of state, he made sure that he is in control and everybody says, yes, sir, yes, your excellency, yes, sir, because if it is Linturi, nimekutoa wapi? Wewe ulikuwa na kesi za corruption, ulikuwa unamalizwa, tumemaliza kesi. So Linturi will not say anything. So as CS, he started by appointing a cabinet that is incompetent, has baggage and skeletons in their closet so that he can be in charge. And Kenyans didn't say anything. Kenyans fell for this thing that let's give him time. Then came the scandals. They started with the edible oils one with Moses Kuria, and then it fizzled out just like that. 5 billion, nobody's talking about it, and it's done. Then he went to parliament and bought all the political parties, installed Wetangula, and Wetangula is indebted to him. Papa Waroma thinks being number 3 in the pecking order is a big thing. So Bunge, we lost it. Kenyans lost it. They tested waters with a few things. The first one was the supplementary budget of 2023, and then the big one of 2023 in the finance bill, mukapiga kelele wa Kenya, and nothing happened. He tested the waters. He knows he can control the National Assembly, controls the Senate. And then came the appointments to parastatals. Mtu ako na deni ya KRA ya 2 billion anafaa kulipa, ndio sasa anakuwa chairman wa KRA. And Kenyans are not talking about it. He comes and says the oil subsidy thing was a kiosk where Uhuru's cronies were eating 65 billion every month. He undid that thing, he stopped it. He raised the fuel prices, and then he installed his cronies, his own people under the new thing. I can't remember what they called it. They set up that thing. Bei ya mafuta haikushuka by half of what it had gone up. Kenyans did nothing. And now, the finance bill is here. He has felt the pressure. Amedanganya wa Kenya that he is a listening president. Dennis Itumbi, my brother, who I have known for many years since our time in college, comes and says, listening president. And the country falls for it. And then he dangles the carrot for Baba and tells Baba, you can be the chairman of AU. So, and because you can't be chairman of AU without getting endorsed by your country, I am going to do it. I'm going to run the secretariat. Baba gets excited, and then the whole country is in a mess. Picks 4 ODM guys, puts them in cabinet, in critical dockets, zenye tayari wameiba. And what he is basically doing, and this is what I want you to see, he has put Mbadi in the treasury, where they know they have stolen, they have committed the country to some illegalities in the name of domestic borrowing. So now, when everything is going to fail, like now they have to do the finance bill again. Who is going to bring it? Mbadi. Somebody is going to be the most unpopular politician by the time the finance bill is coming. So Ruto is saying, Oparanya, hii hustler fund tulisha kula. Tumemalizana nayo. Oparanya, kuja hapa, wewe ndio mnasema mnajua. Then You look at Opio and I. They have given out Ketrako to Adani fictitiously. So Opio and I is told, Kuja, simamia energy. And then Joho, wewe unajifanya kujua sana. Kuja, mining. When they have already given concessions for illegal mining, and when all those scandals are going to come out, who is going to look bad? It is going to be the experts, the ODM experts are going to be the ones Ruto will turn to and say, Bwana, sasa si tulileta serikali ya kila mtu. So that Ruto then looks good. That hata kama mnasema mimi ni mbaya, sasa mimi ni mbaya aje na hao watu nilileta wa ODM. Anyway, cut the long story short. William Ruto knows today Kenyans are gullible. Kenyans will not watakasirika for a few days, and that's it. So he is now testing the waters with bringing that bill ya kuimpeach Gachagua. And then Cherargei is sneaking in that one of term limit. Basically he's saying, hii nitapitisha hizi vitu zote, I can now test the waters. He has deployed the military illegally and he has unleashed the police on the people, police brutality. Nothing is happening. He comes and pretends. He doesn't know of any Kenyan that is missing. An 8-year-old or 12-year-old is sprayed with bullets. He comes and says, at least that boy is alive. And the country is just watching. Kome was sacrificed. Now they have brought in Masengeli. They have messed him up. They have brought Kanja. They are going to mess him up. All I am saying is that William Ruto is testing the waters. He is bringing in the term limit, removal, change the terms of the presidency, set up the IEBC now that he has pocketed Baba, control everything. He says, wacha twende referendum. He will force that referendum. Even if you vote yes, William Ruto is a master stealer of elections. He is going to manipulate that referendum. He will be a president for life. And all that we've had will be negated. That is the sad state of our country. And that is why I am calling upon all of us, comrades. I said some time back that this fight is a marathon. It is not a sprint. This is the time to come out and say no to the dictatorship that William Ruto wants to take us back to. This is not the time to attack Kasmuel Makoure, Morara Kebaso. This is not the time to say you are the next president and you want to replace William Ruto. This is not the time to even tell anybody about political ambitions because we don't have a country. What we have to do right now is to pull together and say William Ruto has to go. The people have to take back their power so that we don't slide to the anarchy. Leaders are chosen by God and anointed by the Almighty. And even when it may seem like we need to get a figurehead, a leader, God will appoint a leader for the Kenyans when William Ruto and his cabal has been run out of town. Fellow Kenyans, we are staring at a return 4 decades back if we don't target our swords at William Ruto and his people. This is not the time to attack young people like Kasmuel. This is not the time to turn against each other. This is a time to draw together. The enemy is not any one of us who has not tested power. The enemy is not even Baba. Right now, the enemy is the master conniver. As the man of cloth did acknowledge here, the church was duped to go into bed with the devil. This is the time for the country to come together. This is the time for us to revert to those spaces that had hundreds and millions of people in one space, Kenyans speaking one language. This is not the time for people to be divided, because a people united can never be divided, can never be defeated. we must be able to see, tuone William Ruto 18 vile Gen Z wanasema na tumfukuze. Hizi vipindi za kufukuza sijui Gachagua sijui na yeye analetewa yake, all that is razzmatazz that does not matter. It is meant to distract us. It is a hair being thrown at us so that we lose sight of the antelope that we've been hunting for. We must not fall for that temptation. And I am calling upon us as I land that this is a time to look for Casmuel Makoure. This is a time to look for Kebaso. This is a time to bring all these forces together into one, so that the benefit of history by those who understand where Kenya has come from and how the liberation struggle has been can be able to share their nuggets of wisdom with these young people, so that they stop falling for the premature carrot that is being dangled and start going after the hare when the antelope is running away. I want to land at that point and open it up so that we can further discuss. The state of the nation right now is that the people cannot afford to be against each other. The people must be together. I risk starting to repeat myself. I have made my point. Abdi, I drop mic. Let the conversation continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Milton, always for the great presentation. Let me cycle back to Linus. He's on the mic. Linus, I'll let you come in with chime in into this conversation again. Thank you.
Kindly permit, I've just rejoined. I dropped, unfortunately, and I've not picked much of what has been said. Let me listen to what's being said first, and I think I come back later. Kindly.
Thank you. That's fine. So I will go back to who was the next speaker, Pombe?
I think we have lost some of our speakers here. We only have Dr. Milton and Linus and the co-host and the host. I'm trying to bring some of the speakers, and also please, I would like you guys to request speakers so that we make the conversation going without breaks. So meanwhile, Abdi, as I try to bring speakers, can we have some recap kidogo from you?
Yeah. So I would like to talk about, there was a lot of issue about public participation in Kenya. Once and again, it has laid the bare selective nature of our democracy. What we see today is a facet of inclusivity used as a political tool, rather than a genuine commitment in engaging with citizens. I think it's striking that public input is being invoked with such intensity when it comes to proposed impeachment of a deputy president. Yet, the same voices were silenced when the finance bill, one of the most consequential pieces of legislation, was bulldozed through parliament without adequate consultation. Why is public participation wielded as a weapon to legitimize certain political actions, but ignored when it comes to policies that will shape the lives of millions of Kenyans? I think this speaks to the broader pattern of exclusion and manipulation, where the democratic principles of public participation is only honored in a rhetoric, not into practice. When it comes to the finance bill, the voices of the ordinary Kenyans were already bearing the brunt of high cost of living. Inflation, joblessness were deemed irrelevant. The bill was pushed through with an urgency that dismissed any call for input, debate, or dissent. I think where was the public consultation when it comes to most needed times? It was cast aside. I think replaced by hurried sessions and political muscle flexing. And this is the strategy now they want to use moving forward, as Dr. Milton said. This is the same disregard is also evident in the ongoing debate around sustainable health insurance fund. The push for mandatory contribution from all, regardless of income, risks one-size-fits-all policy that risks penalizing already those at the margin. There is no clear articulation of how funds will be used, no transparency in the structure, no space for health professionals and communities to weigh in. It seems we are asking a struggling family to shoulder yet another financial burden without assurance. These are all the problems that have been coming on and off. I'll hand over the mic back to you, Pombe, so that you can bring the next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Abdi. In the speaker, we have Peter, Lucas, and Duke as new speakers. I will start by giving chance to Peter. Peter, karibu. Peter, are you there? All right. As Peter is trying to get, let me jump to Lucas. Lucas, karibu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I'm very happy to be part of this this wonderful meeting to decide the course of our country that has been stolen and been raped by those selfish leaders who think they are not leaders, anarchists and rulers, thugs who doesn't care about us, but they just want to care about their stomachs and their children. And one thing I want to say, there was a speaker who talked about unity and all those things. If someone has proven that is a mole in our midst, we are not here to be naive enough to start speaking about peace. This shit about peace was the one this regime used against us to start lying to us that anataka kuunganisha sijui Kenya. And peace is not a problem in this country. Unity is not a problem. The biggest problem in this country is stealing. People being selfish. So they use a rhetoric to steal from us. Anyone like now Kasmwe who has proven to us